Assalamu alaikum students, this is Majid Tahir, your teacher for computer science. The course code for A-level computer science is 9618. You can get my free notes on my website www.majidtahir.com. All A-level notes, all O-level notes, all topical past papers, entirely free. You can also get free online classes via YouTube. So let's start today's topic. The topic that we are doing today is loops. As we've talked about earlier that there are three types of programs. First, we talked about sequence programs. Then we did selection program, did if then else programs. We did case of programs. Today we are going to do repetition programs or iteration programs. We also call them loops. Many problems involve repeating one or more statements. So it is useful to have structured statements for controlling these repetitions or iterations. There are three types of loops or repetitions or iterations. The first one is for to next loop. We also call it count control loop. The second one is while, do, end while. We also call it precondition loop. Third one is repeat until. We also call it post condition loop. So today we are going to talk about for to next loop or count control loop. So let's start. When a loop is to be repeated a fixed number of times or a known number of times, we use for to next loop. The counter in this loop is automatically incremented, so you don't have to increment counter manually. So let's start the pseudocode of for loop. Begin is the start of the program in pseudocode. So we've declared two variables, num for inputting any number and count. Both of them are of integer data type. There is a prompt statement, output, input a number for its table. So a prompt on a screen will display, a prompt on the screen will pop up that user has to input a number for its table. So user understands that he has to input a number so that the table of that number will be displayed. So beside we have an output screen also. So when this prompt comes, user will see this prompt on the screen that input a number for its table. So this is going to be visible on the screen. Then user will input a number in the num variable that we have declared earlier. Okay, so let's suppose user has input. So let's suppose user has input in num variable, user has input, let's suppose 5. There is another variable of count which is going to store the values of for loop for counting. Now the loop starts for count is equal to 1 to 10. Now maximum value that loop has to reach is this. The loop has to go till 10. So when it reaches 10, it will automatically end. Now in loop, it basically does what it is printing the times table. So whatever number, for example 5, user has input, 5 is going to be displayed. The multiplication sign is in inverted commas, so it will be displayed as it is. Comma count, first time count will be 1. So number times 1 equals to will be displayed and 5 into 1 will be displayed. So this screen that you are looking at right now is going to be displayed from this line. So 5 times 1 is equal to 5. Next count means that for loop automatically increments the count. So next count, it will take it back to the original first value in the for loop. So this next is going to take this loop back to the loop again because it has to reach 10 and it hasn't reached 10. Count is only 1 right now. So it repeats again and the same this line repeats again. So it says now 5 times 2 because counter automatically incremented. Earlier it was 1, now it is 2. So 5 times 2 is equal to 10. Then loop goes back again. 5 times 3 equals to 15 because it is 3 now. Loop goes back again. 5 times 4 equals to 20. So it keeps on repeating, loop keeps on repeating, it keeps on printing 5 times 7, 5 times 8, 5 times 9, 5 times 10. Now when it reaches this value 10, because counter is now 10 and our maximum value for loop was 10 because we started from 1 to 10. On 10 it automatically ends. If there is another statement after next, it will proceed, otherwise it will end the program. So in our program it ends over here and the total times table has been printed up till 10. So 5 times 1 is 5, 5 times 2 is 10 and so on. It prints the whole times table. Let's see the program code in Visual Basics. So we know that in Visual Basics, dim is the keyword for declaration. So dim is the keyword for declare in Visual Basics. We've declared two variables, num and counter, or num and count. So we have declared two variables, num and count, as integer. So console.writeLine is basically the print command or output command. All right, in Visual Basics, for printing or for outputting, we use console.writeLine. So now input a number for its table is going to be displayed on the screen so that user can print something. Number is equal to console.readLine is basically input command. So readLine is basically, it will read whatever user types, readLine, and then put it in the num variable console, because we are in the console mode. We work in the console mode as per the instructions of Cambridge. So console.writeLine and console.readLine has to be there. Now our for loop starts. For count is equal to 1 to 10. Similarly, just like pseudocodes, console.writeLine is again print num, and instead of comma in Visual Basics we use this concatenation sign, this sign and times and count and equals to, and num multiply by count and next count. So when we do this, it automatically does what? It automatically brings us to output screen. So I have displayed this output screen. So you can see that input a number for its times table is basically this line that you are looking at in the as a prompt. User has input in the num variable. User has input what? User has input 7. So you can see that user has input 7. So 7 goes over here as num. Now counter automatically starts. Count starts with 1. Initially it was 1, so it says 7 times 1. So 7 was in num. 7 times came as it is, multiplication sign. 1 was in counter, so 1 was in counter, is equal to was as it is, and num multiplied by 7 is 1 into 7 gives us, or you can say 7 into 1 gives us 7. So we have 7. Then automatically it goes back again because it has not reached 10. Next count means that next again same value 7, because num has 7 times sign as it is, this one. 2, because counter is automatically incremented. So counter, earlier it was 1, now counter becomes 2. So it is 2, and obviously 7 times 2 gives us 14. So it is 14. So then loop goes back again, it goes back again and automatically increments one more time. Now count becomes 3. So 7 times 3 is equal to 21. It goes back again, 7 times 4 is 28. So it automatically does what? It does the loop, repeats the loop 10 times. Alright, because we had the loop from 1 to 10. Because we had the loop from 1 to 10, so it repeated it 10 times. As you can see that it repeated loops 10 times and the output is displayed. Now let's see the same program in Python. So num is equal to int input, enter a number for its times table for count in range 1 comma 10 colon, print num multiply num comma and then cross sign for multiplication comma count equals to num into count. So when you do this, you will get this output. Now let me show it to you one by one. Now this statement is one statement that declares the variable, also gives the prompt also. So this is the prompt. So this inverted commas, basically the whole thing is going to be displayed, and then input goes into the num variable via integer data type. So in this one complete line, it does what? It shows the prompt also. So this prompt that you're looking at, it shows this prompt also. Then in num's variable integer data type 7, let's suppose user has input 7, so it puts 7 over there, and then it comes to this for loop. Now for count, now count automatically again for count in range 1 comma 10. So in for loop we are telling a Python that it starts from 1, it goes till 10. So counter is going to be initially 1, and it will do this line in for loop. So this colon is very important. When you write down this colon, means that you're in the for loop, and then it gives one indent forward, and then print num times count is equal to num into count. So 7, this times comes over here, count is over here, equals to sign as it is, and this num into count is 7, so it's 7. So again, as you can see, num variable still has 7 in it. Count automatically increases, count becomes 2 now. So 7 times 2 is equal to, then count 7 times 2 becomes 14, so it's 14. Then count becomes 3, 7 times 3 is equal to 21. So it keeps on repeating, it displays the times table till 10. So when it reaches 10, it ends automatically, or it you take indent out of the for loop, you are out of the loop. If there is end of the program, it will end. If there are more instructions, it will proceed that. Let's see flowchart versus pseudocode. In for loop, pseudocode is easier to produce, but flowchart is not that easy. But I'm just going to give you a little idea how it works. So basically it says, let me show it to you line by line. So this is basically the start. So this is the start. Let me change the color. So this is start, and the symbol is going to be obviously terminator. Then initialize variable. So any variable is initialized. So let's say count, or let's suppose in number, or any variable that you write down. Now condition is basically this one. In for loop, condition is always for count is equal to 1 to 10, 1 to 20. So number of times, how many times you want to do it. Loop body, whatever you want to do in the loop is going to be in the loop body. Loop is automatically incremented next count, so you don't have to write down count is equal to count plus 1. You don't have to do this in for loop. It automatically increments that. Now let's see one more program, another program of for loop, also count control loop. So in this program, we are declaring 3 variables: marks, count, and total. All of them are of integer data type. So we have declared another variable of average. The data type of that variable is real. You know that real is a decimal number, so real data type can take decimal numbers. Now the loop starts the counter for count is equal to 1 to 10. So the for loop starts over here for count is equal to 1 to 10. So we are repeating a number 10 times. output input your marks, comma count. So it is going to display input your marks as a prompt and then comma count. So it will display basically input your marks, and we know that currently count has what? Count has 1, so it will display input your marks 1. First time, let's suppose user inputs 10. Total is a variable which initially had nothing, mean it is 0. So this lines means that total is equal to total plus marks. So total 0 is equal to 0 plus 10. So total will have now automatically 10 in it because first marks are added over there. Next count will automatically take the loop back to the count because it has to reach what? It has to reach this 10. This is the maximum value. So it keeps on doing that. It keeps on doing that. So loop will automatically repeat for once user has input something. Again it says input your marks 2. User has input, let's suppose 20 this time. Now 10 plus 20 gives, earlier total had 20. Now total is equal to total plus marks means 10 plus 20. Now total has 30. It goes back again. User has input, let's suppose this time user has input 30. So 30 plus 30, it is going to be 60 in the total, and it keeps on doing that. It keeps on adding all the marks, and after that when loop ends, when it reaches 10, user has input 10 marks, different 10 marks, it goes out of the loop. So this is the out of the loop. It says average is equal to total divided by 10. So whatever total we had, whatever number, it is going to be divided by 10, and then it is going to say output class total marks are whatever total has will be displayed in the totals variable, and output class average marks, whatever average marks were calculated in this line will be displayed in the average variable, and then end of the program. Now I am going to show you the same program in a programming language and then output of the program. So let's see the same program that we have just seen in the pseudocode in Visual Basic console mode. So submain is the start of main body of the program. Then dim marks count total as integer. We know that dim is the variable declaration command. So instead of declare, Visual Basic uses dim. So we have declared 3 variables, marks, total, and count. All of them are of integer data type. Then dim average as decimal. There is another variable that we have declared average, and its data type is decimal. Earlier in pseudocode we declared that this same variable as real. So real is a decimal number. So for count is equal to 1 to 10. Similarly, again the same thing. Count is equal to 1 to 10. Console.WriteLine, we know that this is for output. So because we are in console mode, so it has to write console.WriteLine. So it has to write in a line input marks and count. So marks is equal to console.readLine. This is the input command. Total is equal to total plus marks, the same line, next count, and then average is equal to total divided by 10, and console.WriteLine class total marks and total, and class average marks and average, and end sub. Now I am going to show you the output of this program. This line is basically the prompt. So you can see input marks, which is this one, and count was initially 1, so it says input marks 1. User has input 12 in it. So first time in totals variable, total is equal to total plus marks. So user has input 12, so automatically total also becomes 12. Then the same this after this it says next count, so automatically loop goes back again. Input marks 2 because counter was 2. User has input 11, loop goes back again. Input marks 3. User has input 33, loop goes back again. Input marks 4. in counter loop goes back again. Its user has input 44, then 5, then 6, then 7, 8, 9, 10. So for loop has repeated 10 times. For loop has repeated 10 times. Now after 10 times, this is the 10th marks that user has input, which were 12. Loop ended and program came over here. Average is equal to total divided by 10. So whatever total, it was divided by 10, and then it has to display this one. Console.write line, which is the output, class total marks. So this one, this line, class total marks 497 by adding all of the marks that user entered. In class average marks, as whatever was in the average, it was 49.7. So 49.7 is displayed. I will see you again with another topic of while loop. So till then, Allah Hafiz. Take care. Allah Hafiz.